And we are back, episode 2 of Shoe Booty Sports with your
What
host,
up?
Graham Powell, Bradley Brown. We haven't gotten canceled yet.
Not
And
yet.
not yet. So we are a few weeks into college and pro football. And jumping right in, going to the Monday night football game. Packers, Aaron Rodgers, starting to look like Aaron Rodgers. I guess week 1 was just the little off-season fluke.
Yeah, I'd say so. Typical overreaction from week 1. Get blown out by the Saints on the road. Come back, play a decent game with the Lions, and beat a pretty good team with the 49ers on Monday Night Football. So,
Yeah,
but we all seen it before.
yeah.
We knew
I
what
mean,
was going to happen.
the Saints, Jameis, I know it's preseason, but Jameis looked good. He looked good throughout the preseason. There's a reason I drafted him in like the next to last round because I thought of fantasy because I thought, okay, I mean, he's looking pretty sharp. I mean, it's preseason, next to last round, take a chance on it. Then he throws 5 touchdowns in week 1. Rodgers comes out, looks disinterested, looks like, I mean, plays like he's been fighting with the front office all off season and literally on the fence about retirement and has a bad game for Aaron Rodgers or anybody for that matter. But then comes out in week 2, those 4 touchdown passes, and then did what he did for like he typically does in the third game. And he's back. But yeah, basically typical week 1 overreaction. But I mean, did we really think that would last either?
No, not really. But, it could have all been avoided. Mike Shanahan kind of blew it there at the end. He could have ran out the clock and kicked the go-ahead field goal with, 1 second left.
Mike
But
Shanahan, huh? He came out of retirement, took over for his son.
Hey, wait a minute. Whoever's coaching the damn 49ers.
That would be
They
Kyle.
blew
That
it.
would, that would be Kyle Shanahan. But
Well,
Mike did get a couple of.
I wrote down the wrong damn name.
Were you Googling 1997
No.
and 1998?
I guess I just seen Shanahan and just automatically wrote down Mike Shanahan.
You just went back. You went back to the 13-year-old you. He's been coaching for 20 plus years in the NFL.
Hey, so
apparently
I obviously follow the 49ers pretty close.
Yeah. But so we don't know what we're talking about, everyone. We're just on
obviously
here with a podcast. But
if you haven't figured it out yet,
if you haven't,
we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're less than what are we 3 minutes in already exposing ourselves. But anyway, Rodgers is back. No one's surprised. It took all of one game to shake the cobwebs out. So he's back. So who do we think is the best team in pro football right now? To me, again, we're 3 games in. It's a 17-game season. Injuries are going to happen. This can all change in next week, if a key player gets hurt. So, but after 3 weeks, just for shits and gigs, who's the best team in pro football right now? Who has looked the best after 3 weeks?
Definitely not the Jaguars. But
correct, definitely not the Jaguars. They were number 1 pick for a reason.
I don't know, man. I'd have to say the Rams. Stafford's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I mean it's a no-brainer for me. It's the Rams. I mean, what they did to the Bucks is, I mean, they were in the Super Bowl. They were in the Super Bowl 2, what was it, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah. 3 years ago, I believe.
With Jared Goff, not a bad, I mean, number 1 pick, not a bad quarterback, but not Matt Stafford. And he changed the quarterback.
Their defense is a little bit better than that season.
Yeah, they've added a couple of pieces. They've added some, but for still got Aaron Donald. I mean, it's for the large part, they're all. I mean, it was a solid unit then. They got to the Super Bowl for a reason, but Stafford's what they were missing. They were missing a quarterback. I think even get back coach McVay. He's got one of those get back guys, so I instantly root against him. But I can't stand that. I hate that. But it's become a coaching trend. Like we're getting off topic a little bit, but the get back guy it's the newest coaching trend in football. Like a couple of years ago when Dan Mullen was yelling at the Vanderbilt coach at the time. I don't think he's still the Vanderbilt coach, but was yelling at him during the game, and then they act like they're going to fight, and then they buddy after the game, and then the very next week, guy that got fired at Texas, Tom Herman, does the same thing with Mike Gundy. He acts like he starts yelling at Gundy and pointing, acting like he's gonna go do something, and then buddies with him after game. All he did was see Mullen do that the week before and say, "Hey, that looks pretty cool. That's going to look cool to recruits. You know that I'm sticking up for my players." And he goes like it was a show. So that's just one of the many coaching trends. And then the get back guy comes into play. But anyway, I root against not the Rams, but I just don't care much for if I'm on the fence about it, I'm going to go for the other team over the Rams just because McVay has one of those get back guys. So anyway, what was I talking about?
Just talking about who we think the best team in football is right now.
Okay, I know where I was going. Well, McVay, I think, was just missing someone that he saw as an equal as far as IQ on the football field. Matt Stafford, from an offensive standpoint. From an offensive standpoint, he wanted because he's a young guy. He's mid-30s, so
he was just younger than me.
Yeah, well, you didn't have to expose that. I'm not saying anything about me, but yeah, he was looking for somebody that was more like a pupil as opposed to someone to tutor. So just a classmate, not a student. And I think he got that in Stafford. But Rams look solid. They're going to be a tough out for anybody if they can stay healthy. Big if. Ifs and buts in pro football. When it comes to injuries, it's a week by week thing. But as of now, Rams look good. They'll probably start. I know Daryl Henderson. He's. I don't believe he played this. I don't believe he played this week. But they plug in Sony Michel, and he's still trying to learn things, and he doesn't look like he did at Georgia. But they'll come around. They'll come along. They've got weapons. But
they're going to score plenty of points. They're not going to have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, and they're throwing it. They're throwing it everywhere. They're throwing it. I mean, Cooper Kupp. He's
killing it.
Yeah, he's
gonna in fantasy. Good job.
You drafted him in fantasy?
No, I said if you drafted him in fantasy, good job.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was gonna tell you good job if you had. I did not.
No, I'm not a smart man. I did, so I didn't do it.
I wish I would have thought about picking up Deshaun Jackson. And we'll kind of dive into fantasy. Put a little fantasy focus on this podcast. Just a nice little natural transition, sliding right in. But Deshaun Jackson, I was tempted to pick him up, but I don't think that. I mean, that's just going to be a home run guy that you get. He's going to get those 2 to 3 long catches per game, and it might.
He's going to be big time boomer bust. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's not somebody I think you can consistently rely on in that spot, at least as a starter. Maybe somebody if you're pretty low, you're not pleased with what you have on the bench, might be worth taking a shot at. But I passed on him. I'm pretty deep on the bench, so the key is just hitting up the waiver wire after those first few weeks. Who are these new guys stepping in making an impact and jump on it. Roll the dice
Oh
on
yeah.
some, but low risk, high reward. Got the people you know that aren't going to be starting for you if it comes to that. So, anyway, how is your fantasy team doing? We're not in the same
Well,
league,
one of them,
everyone.
no, no, one of them's doing good. The other two, not so great. But my bench is killing it in those two other leagues. So
See, Gronk was killing it on my bench the first 2 weeks, and then I realized, okay, I should probably start Gronk. But tied in, I am loaded right now. 2 tight ends, Waller and Gronk. So
yeah, you're lucky. Yeah, I've got Kelsey in one league. That's the league, of course, I'm doing good in. But the other ones, man, it's slim. I've got Knox. He's been treating me well the last 2 weeks.
who?
He's Dawson Knox on the Bills.
I was
He
like, I
gets
don't even
about
know who that
four.
is.
He gets a handful of targets a game, but he catches them all and usually gets a touchdown. He's available in most leagues, by the way. And whenever I picked him up, I think he was only rostered 1.6%. So
This is some delicious diet root beer, Frosty.
mm,
But speaking of sponsors, we are brought to you by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series company. You can run these races anytime, anywhere. They offer 5 different races: a 5K, 10K, half marathon, and the Rhino Ultra. There's nothing like it. Sign up, run it anytime, anywhere, and just record it with your fitness app, tracking device. Submit your results, receive your award, receive your award by mail. That's simple. RhinoRaces.com for details. Visit their socials, Rhino Races on Facebook and Instagram, and at Rhino Races LLC on Twitter. It's a decent little plug, I thought.
yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, you can. I was
Might as
working
well
on
follow
this.
it with another nice swig of that frosty root beer.
Then I'll have to go pee probably, but yeah. I get the.
I'm just gonna, start wearing
That's a
paddless
weird.
hats all the time and
A
try
weird
to get sponsored by them.
bottle. All right, so how are you doing in your fantasy league right now? I am 2-1, so I'm sitting pretty there. I'm feeling okay, feeling decent.
How many leagues are you in?
Just one. See, that's the thing. I think you should only be in one league. Put all your focus into that one team, and then you're not watching a game where you're cheering a guy for doing something like, well, oh, that's awesome. I got him in this league, but I'm playing him in this other league. You need to be
Yeah, that's
all
what I
in
was about to say.
on one squad. I think it's best to just do one team. So me personally, and I don't want to I don't want to like put all that work into seeing what I need and then adding and then turn around doing the same thing in another league because that team's going to be completely different, most likely.
Most likely, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
naturally,
yeah, I'm in
the whole
three
point
leagues.
of
So
doing multiple leagues, I think, is to just roll the dice on a certain strategy of one and hoping one sticks. So each league is going to be different. But I think you should just do one league, go all in on that one, put all your time and focus on that. And I don't know, because then you're rooting for one squad, one group of players. It's just too much for me to wrap my brain around. All
yeah,
in
it
one
is
league.
too much. So, but it's fun.
It's fun, yeah, but it gets to be work, I would think, after a while with that many to keep track of.
Yeah, yeah, it is a little bit of work. I have the 3 teams, and then I have a daily fantasy every Sunday. So
So that's what you're doing basically when you're
when
not
I'm
working,
not
you're dealing with
golfing
that,
and I'm not working, I'm probably reading something on fantasy. Yes.
doing that, obviously. Well, getting off football
In-
for a bit.
interesting lives I live.
He's available, ladies. I won't disclose his location, but it's kind of tells you where he's at a little bit if you pay close attention to the background. But anyway, getting off of football for a little bit. How about the playoff chase in baseball, and in particular the St. Louis Cardinals locking up a wild card spot with what was the final count for their streak? Was it 16 games?
It ended at 17.
Ended at 17. That's
Yep.
crazy. Won 17
Yep.
straight games in modern Major League Baseball. It's not the 27 Yankees.
I think it was the longest streak since 58 or some shit like that in the NL, anyways.
Well, that's a long
58 or
time.
52, something like long time ago.
I don't think I
Back
was
whenever we
born
were
yet
just-
in 1958. I'd have to go back and check, but I don't think I was born yet. So very
My parents
impressive.
told me I wasn't born then, so I'll take
Yeah.
their word on it.
Well, it's been a long time since then. Either way, and an impressive streak. They're getting hot at the right time. I don't know if they're going to make noise in the playoffs, but it's the best. It's the way that you want to end the season. Streaking, peaking at the right time, which is playoff time. The right time equals playoff time.
You definitely got to be feeling pretty good being that hot in September.
Yeah, the other team I can think of. It's a few. I mean, there's a few teams that come to mind peaking at the right time when it's playoff time. Think the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. Rolling the way that they did in the postseason, beat the Lakers. That was considered an upset. And then, of course, what they did to the Heat in the final.
Yep.
But the big one that sticks out to me are Eli's New York Giants, his 2 Super Bowl wins. They played the undefeated Patriots close in week 17 of whatever year that was. 2009? No, it wasn't 2000. 2007? I believe it was 2007.
Damn, is that long ago?
It was a long time ago. I was living in my apartment off Duncan Street, the 6-unit one there in Fayetteville. So
yeah, that was quite some time ago then.
That was where I watched the Super Bowl. So yes, it's been a significant amount of time. But I had hair and everything. But yeah, they played. Huh?
Said me too.
Oh yeah.
Good days. Good days.
Yeah. Well, I guess. I mean, I like being bald, but
yeah, save so much money on haircuts. Let me tell you.
I mean, that is true. That is true. But as far as, I mean, they played New England close in that last game, and then they just roll through. I believe they were even a wild card team, and then they just do what they do with that. Yeah, with that front four, and then Eli just being Eli. Nope. Unfazed Eli and the helmet catch, sprinkle a little magic in there. And because the way to stop Brady is put pressure on him. It's no secret. If you get him moving, then you're in trouble. If you let him sit back and do things with his arm, he's going to beat you.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and then they turn around and do that again in whatever year that was that they did that. But against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, it was the same story. They peaked at the right time. Now the Giants were kind of the best team the year or two after they won it the first time. But Plaxico shot himself in the leg, and that derailed things. But I had called it.
Okay.
Yeah, not to toot my own horn, but I had called it. The Giants winning it, they were going to win it the second time around, entering that playoff. I was like, the Giants are going to win this, and I mean that's what happened. I mean, I can't say I was too shocked when they did it. Now the Manningham toss, where you could just walk up and hand it to him. You couldn't have walked up and handed it to him better than where Eli put it on that throw to the sideline on the last drive of that game. But anyway, moral of the story: peak at the right time, folks, and you can make some noise in the playoffs. I don't know if the Cardinals will do any damage against, say, the Dodgers or Giants, but we'll find out. Giants have always been the Cardinals' kryptonite. So, and by always, I mean within the last 10 years. Always within the last 10 years, the Giants have been the Cardinals' kryptonite.
60% of the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So we can jump back into football at the collegiate level. Now, a couple of SEC teams that weren't expected to make much noise are early. Coming to mind, Arkansas, Ole Miss. Now, obviously, we have ties to Arkansas. We're both Arkansas alums. And we were there during the Darren McFadden years when things were
awesome.
Fun. Yeah, that. Awesome all the time. And it's been quite a few ups and downs in between, but it looks like I was excited about the Pittman hire when it happened. And
Me too.
And it was funny because when they hired him, when they announced him, I even thought, why didn't I think of that? Like, not that I would have played any role in that, but why didn't I think that they could go after this guy, the guy that's recruiting all these big linemen and all these top athletes and that kids love to play for and would go to war for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want to play your heart out for somebody like that. Why didn't I why didn't I think of this? Fortunately, somebody at Arkansas did. I think the word was a lot of former players were really kind of rallying for him and petitioning for him to get the job. And thankfully, somebody at Arkansas listened. But anyway, he's turning it around. Ole Miss looks like they're turning it around.
Whenever he left the first time, it was almost an immediate decline in the offensive line.
It was an immediate decline. It was an immediate decline. It's like, oh, that's how Arkansas got this big lineman to come. It turns out it wasn't Bielema, it was Sam Pittman. So at least at Arkansas. Can't speak for Wisconsin because he obviously had some success there. But his best year, Bielema's best year at Arkansas was 8-5. So now that was a fun year. I mean, they were in a lot of big games, and Brandon Allen was slinging it everywhere, and it was good to see his kind of redemption story. But
and we beat Texas that year, right?
I think that was the year before. That was the year they beat Kansas State.
Oh, so
yeah. Well, then why'd you say it if you thought so?
Well, dang it. We're so accurate on years on this podcast. You know, obviously, we can't even remember when the damn Giants won the Super Bowl.
2007.
Still not Google? Did you not Google that yet?
No. See, but then I got to put the microphone down and type, and I don't know. I think it's 2007.
It's too much work.
It is too much
somewhere
work.
around there. I mean, plus or minus 5 years.
The second one I couldn't tell you when. 2011.
It was only like a couple of years later.
Yeah, like 4. Now let's do the math. Like, we don't need to spend too much time doing the math. But I know Peyton won it in 06, and then Eli won it in 07. It was like back-to-back years, so it had to be 2007. That was the first one. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna hurt my head.
2012 was one of them.
It was one of them.
Yeah.
So that was the second one then. 2007 was the. 2007 was the.
2012. Yeah. Was the season, yeah.
2012 was the second.
Pat yourself on the back there.
What, did I got one of them right?
Now we're accurate on dates. At least you are. I'm not.
Oh, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. But anyway, as far as how Arkansas is turning things around. Ole Miss is kind of trending or doing the same thing. At least they think so, and trending in that direction. It looks, I mean, they're buying into what Lane's doing, scoring points, good quarterback play, and exciting offense. So it's going to be an interesting game when these two play each other. But I mean, it's not going to can't get any tougher really for the two combined with who they got Saturday. Of the two, which do you
1 and
think?
2.
Arkansas has Georgia, Ole Miss has
Number 2.
Alabama. Who do you think
Number
has
1.
who has the better shot of winning, pulling the upset?
Man. They're both on the road, right? Ole Miss playing at Bama, or no? Bama's playing at Ole Miss, right?
I'm not sure. I'll let you
I
fact
mean
check.
that would make a difference. I think they're playing at Ole Miss.
Are you doing sound effects?
But
are you checking this? Okay, you're
I
fact checking
mean,
on your
I would
phone,
have
so
to
that's fine.
view it's Ole Miss.
Outstanding audio stuff we have here, everyone.
Yeah, I'm get off me. Yeah, these headphones pick up just about everything. Let's see.
Well, I'll tell you what I
It
think
is, yeah.
while you're looking that up.
No, it's Alabama. My
Yeah.
bad.
Well, I think Ole Miss has the
Never
better
mind,
shot.
then.
I think Ole Miss has the better shot of pulling an upset
I
this
do too.
weekend. And that's just
They can put up the points, man.
yes, and that's just because of the quarterback. I
Yeah.
think that
Coral.
I like
Coral.
KJ. Not. That's not a knock on KJ. Because
Love KJ.
Lord knows we were in trouble when he left the game Saturday against A&M. Man, Arkansas was, and yeah, I said we. I'm an alum, so I'm rooting for him my whole life. So yeah, I said we. I'm gonna drop a we every now. But it was a different offense with him out of the game. It was basically a running back taking snaps. Like they clearly have seen in practice. We don't want Hornsby throwing the ball in an SEC game. Not yet. I mean, because they didn't. He did. I mean, he did make a completion, but it was, it was a high percentage throw. But clearly, they don't want him tossing it downfield, just being the guy yet. Let KJ do that, but I think Ole Miss has a better shot because Ole Miss can score points, and Georgia's defense is stout, man.
Yeah, dude.
Like
They're fast, physical. They're dude. Yeah.
They ate ukulele at Clemson for lunch in week 1, and I mean he got sacked. I don't know how many times. It was a lot, and seemed like he was on the ground or on his way down after every snap. So it's going to be a tough win, man. If Arkansas, like Feinbaum said, if Arkansas can pull it off, he'll declare them the number 1 team in the country. And wouldn't go that far. But could you imagine?
No, I can't, dude. I would go nuts. I don't know what I would do.
Now they hung with them last year for a half.
For the first half, yeah. And I remember thinking, man, this is nuts. When's
Yeah.
Georgia gonna wake up? Because that was
Yeah.
an early game too, right? It was 11 o'clock, just like this weekend's.
Yes. Yes. And I believe I was yeah, I'm trying to remember watching that game last year. I was on the road. I was in a hotel. I think I had a race that day or something. But that would be huge. But of the two, I think Ole Miss can pull the upset this weekend. Be pretty cool to see them both, but I mean, come on, that's probably not going to happen. But I'd bet that's not going to happen. But how how legit is Arkansas and Ole Miss? Have they proven that they're legit yet? Can we take them seriously? Or are we just going to wait till Saturday and see? I think it's somewhere in between.
Tulane, Austin P, and then Louisville. So I mean, Louisville's okay, but proven legit, not yet. I think Arkansas has, but Ole Miss can definitely prove itself this weekend, though.
I don't know that. I think Arkansas has clearly turned the corner. That's what they've proven. They beat a Texas team that's been overrated since the beginning of time. They struggled mightily against Rice in the first half of that week 1 game, but it's week 1.
True.
They turned it
It was week
around the
1.
second. And Georgia Southern, is that who they played in week 3?
Georgia Southern, yeah, week 3.
Routed them, but Georgia Southern. Now, A&M, they showed out. Arkansas looked like the better team the whole game except when KJ went out. But A&M's playing a backup quarterback too. So
True.
It's I don't know that A&M is what or is going to be. I think A&M is going to probably end the year with 4 or 5 losses, to be honest. So I don't think that they're going to be.
Me.
So I don't think they're going to be what we thought they were. Like, we're going to look back at that and probably say that it's not as big of a win. It's a big win for us because we haven't beaten them in 900 years.
Yeah.
By that, I mean 9. But it's felt like 900. So I think it's somewhere in between. Arkansas has clearly turned the corner, but I'm not ready to hop on their back train just yet.
Their back train?
Yes, they're back. They're back.
What are you going for? Back train?
Space. They're not space. They're back.
What's that? What sound does a back train make?
Well, they're training back.
Oh.
Thursday's back. Yeah. Training back. But I'm not on the train of their back.
Not on the back train yet.
Yeah, I'm not on the back train yet. So on their back train.
So you think Ole Miss is legit?
I think both teams are projecting. I mean, I think they're steadily progressing in the right direction. And as far as how legit either team is, I think we have to wait till Saturday to really find out where they're at. Even if both teams lose, but it's competitive.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see as a I just want to see a good game. I
want to see good football.
Yeah, I want to see a good game. Now being biased toward Arkansas, I'd love to see them rout Georgia, but nobody's going to rout Georgia. But at the very least, Arkansas can be competitive, and the key is just going to be scoring points on that Georgia defense. I saw a Georgia defensive player today say something along the lines of, "We don't care if we're playing the New England Patriots. We don't want anybody. We're not going to let anybody score on us."
Oh, what's so special about the New England Patriots this year? Probably had a legitimate shot.
Yeah, well, pro football team, and Mac Jones scored a lot of points in college.
He did.
But anyway, if they can somehow score points on Georgia, I'm impressed. Arkansas's defense has been the most impressive thing for me. The two things that stand out: Arkansas's speed on both sides of the ball. But I mean, it's their speed and the defense, the improvement of both. Vast improvement of both. Arkansas is so fast at running back and quarterback, even when Hornsby's in. I mean, he's basically a running back. They bring him in for that.
That dude's pretty dang quick.
He is so quick. And
KJ's not slow either.
KJ's not slow. But I mean, if he has and he has to have his legs because if he's just relying on his arm, just being a drop back passer, teams fall back on that into coverage. He's shown to be not as effective. So he's got to
Yeah.
have that dual threat to be able to do something.
Yeah. Maybe next season he can do that. Yeah. I don't know about this season. But
Yeah, that's not his game, man. His game is to he's always been a dual threat guy.
yeah.
Going back to high
He's
school.
gonna be the Cam Newton-esque, which is fun to watch. So
Yeah, I mean it's fun to watch. Yeah, play like Cam Newton, and we'll be just fine. But,
yeah. Uh,
yeah. But
that easy.
my takeaway, we'll find out Saturday how legit Arkansas and Ole Miss is. But did you catch any of the Monday night football game Monday?
When was it? When was the Monday night football game? I
I
caught
think
the
it,
last
I think it
quarter and
was
a half.
Monday.
Yeah, well, caught the last quarter and a half. I had a softball doubleheader after work, but yeah, probably tuned in with about 8 minutes left in the third quarter. But from what I've seen, Hertz was just running for his life out there.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of his game too, though, just scrambling around. I mean,
Yeah,
his quote after the game was, I believe he said this. Now this was a typical barstool like tweet with quotes, so I don't know if it's legit what he
I
said, but did
think
you hear about it?
I think it's legit. Yes,
Okay, yeah. What did he say verbatim? Like, maybe not verbatim, but
he's like he's. What does it say when you take a douche? You don't sit there and look at it. You flush it and move on.
yeah. He said
Right, something along those lines.
when you take a douche, you don't stand there. Stand there and look at it. You flush it. And that was extremely philosophical, actually. Maybe not extremely, but it was philosophical esque.
Uh,
I came away with a new respect for Jalen Ramsey after that. But my
mm,
takeaway from that game, Dak looks, at least from a throwing standpoint and command standpoint as a leader, etc., almost looks better than ever, just as a
yeah,
pure quarterback.
he's looking pretty good. Pretty good. New ankle and everything. What
Yeah,
do you
well,
have? 3 TDs? Should have been 4. I didn't see the one that got uh reviewed and overturned. I think it was 4th and goal on the goal line, and it ended up with like half his body being in the end zone, but they ruled it not a touchdown somehow.
I believe so. I kind of
Wow.
zoned out at that point, but he did. Well, I think it was just inconclusive. Inconclusive. Like yes,
Inconclusive, yeah.
like he was probably in, but you couldn't prove it. So, and the call on the field was short.
The camera angle I seen, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean
But
he looked
I'm
in.
not an NFL ref, obviously.
Yeah, and it's also Thursday, and I can't remember something necessarily exactly from 3 days ago, at least on this. But
No.
just as far as Dak goes, from a throwing standpoint and everything, I've never seen him look better than this. And this goes back from watching him torch Arkansas when he was at Mississippi State for what felt
Oh
like
yeah.
6.5 years or so,
Hmm.
when it was only 3, I believe. But what kind of career do we see him having, pros? Do you see Super Bowl? Do you see Hall of Fame career? Do you see
Yeah.
franchise like 10 years?
If he stays,
More like Romo kind of
yeah.
career, or more like Aikman?
Hmm. I don't know, man. If as long as he stays healthy, I think everything's finally coming together for the Cowboys. It's looking like it. They've been saying it's going to happen for what 20 years now. It's finally going to happen, I think. But
What's
I
finally
I don't
what's
know.
finally going to happen?
I think they're going to be like making playoffs, pretty regularly. I think they're going to make it there. I don't want to say they're going to win the Super Bowl, but yeah, I don't know. They could, man. You never know. They've got all the weapons. I don't know, man. I think he's obviously something special, but I mean, the
So
city
Dak,
loves him, the team loves him. I mean, he's
you gotta love. How could you not love that dude? You see him during the national anthem, tearing up and all that.
oh yeah.
Gosh, I root for that
You
dude. I love Dak.
probably you'd be an Ole Miss fan if you didn't like him,
Yeah,
just because they
but
the whole rivalry, Egg
see,
Bowl.
I'm an Arkansas fan. He torched us for forever. Even when he was beating us, though, I was still marveling at watching that dude play
Oh yeah,
quarterback. I was so impressed by him. But I'm even more impressed by the type of dude he is. He's just a stand up dude, man. And I root for the guy. I hope he has the best career possible. So, and I'm not a Cowboys fan. I may be an Arkansas guy, but I'm not a Cowboys fan. I wouldn't say I'm a Cowboys hater, but I'm not a Cowboys fan. I don't actively root for them, but I have liked them significantly more since Dak has been there. But as far
yeah.
as so you basically said Dak is going to be next Tom Brady and surefire Hall of Famer, right? That's what you said.
Not Tom Brady,
Said
but
verbatim.
he has a shot, to get a ring or two. I think.
I don't know that he'll ever get a ring. I just don't know that. I just don't like the way Dallas does things. Like they've had some good drafts, even recently, especially recently. Offensive line is solid, from tackle to tackle. Defense is starting to come together some. I mean, they looked really good against Philly, but they'll get to the playoffs. It's the East. It's the NFC East. They should be in the playoffs every year.
They should be in the playoffs every year. Yes.
But here's the thing about Dallas, right? Okay, here's the thing about them. When one of their players wants to get paid and is very vocal about it, Jerry pays them. All of them that do that and signs them to these often ridiculous contracts that they're not going to be worth, that they're not destined to be worth. I mean, because they can't live up to it. They're not. He's paying them for past services. He's not paying them for what they're going to do in the future. Their best years are typically behind them. I think Dak's best years are still to come. So
Agreed.
I don't, I don't blame a player for getting paid. Like, go get your money. You're only going to make that kind of money for a certain amount of time. You can go get your money, go make it. But from
Yep.
an organizational standpoint, I mean, look at the teams that are really winning games and championships. Patriots did it for years by buying low and selling high and getting a playmaker here and there. But I mean, now Brady, but from all these reports we hear, I don't know what to believe. It sounds like Brady was like, I'm out. But even the Bucks, they have the Patriots, the Bucks. They're getting these guys on deals, these studs on deals, and winning championships. I mean, they're not going to be able to do that forever. Many of those guys are going to want to get paid, and they'll eventually move on. Some of them, at least. But Dallas, whenever one of their players wants to get paid, Jerry pays them, eats up the cap space. This isn't baseball. You got a salary cap still. So I think that's going to constantly kind of get in the way of just improving the team as a whole.
So is Jerry still being the general manager?
Yeah,
And
I mean, even if he doesn't have the title, which I think he does,
I think he still has the
still,
title. Yeah.
yeah. Even if he
Yeah, that's their
does,
problem. That's their problem.
but even if he relinquishes it, he's not going to. It's not going to stop doing it. When did the Cowboys have their most success? When Jimmy Johnson was running things. That was when they had the most success. And when they started to have that success and Jerry just couldn't get out of his own way and get involved, that's when he clashed with Jimmy Johnson, fired him, to do the won two Super Bowls with. And it's basically been downhill since then. But I think that's going to always kind of get in the way for Dak. Now, I don't know that Dak would have. I think Dak would have played his way into a starting position with some other team had somebody else drafted him. Because Dak, I mean, you saw him the preseason, the year he became the starter. You know, the stars aligned. Then Romo got hurt, and he just stepped in, hasn't let go. But I mean, you got to kind of give Dallas credit a little bit, some for drafting Dak just to begin with. So in the third round, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And if we're wrong on these facts, any of these facts, folks, be sure to correct us and send your hate tweets to at Shoe Booty Sports on Twitter. That's at Shoe Booty Sports. Give us a follow, give us a like, send us a hate tweet, correct our facts. correct our facts. Anytime.
Oh yeah.
Probably don't want to hear my gulping right into the microphone. But I don't think Dak. I don't think Dak wins a ring. Not in Dallas.
Not in Dallas.
I just don't. I don't see it happening. I think he has a great career. I think he has a Hall of Fame type of career if he can stay healthy. Big if, because he's turning into a pocket passer, like a pocket passer that runs when he has to. And maybe it's just because he's in the pros, but he doesn't look like the tank that he. Not that he was like overweight or anything, but he doesn't look like the big tank that he was at Mississippi State, where he was just a constant run threat, along with the way he could throw the football. He looks, he looks more. I don't know. He looks more toned to me, like more of a quarterback body as opposed to a hybrid, if that makes sense. He's built more like
built more like a Manning than a Tebow.
Not a Manning. He's much better built
Dang
than
it,
a Manning.
I'm going on two opposite ends here.
It's definitely he's not built like a Manning for sure, but
he's definitely not built like Tebow.
Well, not, and that's the thing. He's standing next to fellow NFL players, so I don't know if he just looks.
Range. I'm trying to help you zero it in.
I wasn't paying it. I didn't get it, obviously, but I just don't. Maybe he's the exact same. And he's just standing next to NFL players, so he looks smaller, but he looks in terrific shape regardless, and he's killing it. And I think the dude can have a Hall of Fame type career and be in the league for a while if he can stay healthy. And he's learning to run just when he has to. As opposed to, hey, I can in college. I mean, it's a different game. He can do it in college. He can't have a sustainable or long lasting career doing it at the pro level. But I think he can have a Hall of Fame type career, even be an MVP, one day. But I don't see him winning a ring at Dallas. I'm not gonna lie though. I'd like to see it happen.
And yeah, that I might break out my Emmitt Smith jersey if he does that. Dust it off from back whenever I was like 10.
You have your Emmitt Smith jersey still from when you were.
Yeah, dude. starter Emmett Smith jersey. It's somewhere folded up in the drawer somewhere. Man.
I mean, I have our high school football jersey, but
That's folded up in a drawer somewhere. But.
Yeah, mine's folded up in a like a plastic container bin thing with like other stuff from high school. But
yeah,
it's
man, I don't know. I just remember being pretty pumped to get that jersey, so I don't know. I kept it. It's Emmett Smith too, man. Shit.
I mean,
But
yeah,
I'm not a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, Emmett Smith he was pretty banging though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see the Cowboys coming out of the East. Because who else is it going to be? Washington doesn't look bad. I'm not gonna lie, I've not watched any of their games, but I mean, I'm keeping up with the scores and seeing what they're doing. Washington could be a threat.
Get them in last season.
Probably it's the NFC East, but
terrible.
It's gonna come down to those two, and whoever edges who, we'll find out. But
what do you think they're going? What do you think the Cowboys are going to do against the Panthers on Sunday?
I don't know. See, I've got the Panthers defense, and I picked them up just because.
Hey, they've been doing pretty good this year.
They've been cut. Darnold's been
a little bit of surprise.
Too. It's been one of those surprise teams. They're well coached. You know, it's they're one of those surprise teams for sure. But as far as what they do, man, I couldn't tell you. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. But that would be a good one. I'd be interested to. I'm going to pay some attention to that one. Sure.
Yeah, there's some other good matchups this weekend too. I think Rams are playing the Cardinals and Raiders Chargers. So should be some points scored in those. Hopefully.
Should be dope. Let's see what happens.
Hopefully it'll be as dope as it. Well, probably can't be, but as dope as Eli Manning on Monday Night Football, dude. The double birds, man. How awesome is that?
That's
can it get any better?
I mean, no, Eli. See, Eli's surprised me a little bit, just as far as I don't know, just how cool that dude is. I hear he does like stand up on the weekends in New York too.
But you know why he was doing it, right?
Yeah, he was he was talking about the 9-year-old kid that flipped in the double bird. And I saw like Peyton kind of egged him on to do it, but it was great to watch. And before that, I saw just some clip of him talking about Dax, and throwing and how he's got to throw, and he's just doing that little pregame dance move looking thing,
little whipping the hip or whatnot.
Yeah, and I saw Eli doing it, and I was just like, that's just fantastic. I don't know what's going on here, but that's fantastic. What are your thoughts of that, by the way? Peyton and Eli's little shtick on Monday Night Football.
From what I've seen of it, I like it. But man, that, like I said, those double headers on Monday night really been interfering with my football watching. So hadn't really got to see a whole lot, but the stuff that I do see is pretty good.
I'm just a runner now, so I don't have to play any double headers on Monday. All my racing stuff is on the weekend, fortunately. But see, it's been cool. I was real excited about it. Like I thought they were just going to be the ones doing commentary. Like going in, I'm like, oh, they're on a different station.
Yeah, I did too. I thought they're just going to be sitting there at a booth.
Yeah,
honestly.
I'll be honest about it. It's not as cool as I thought it was going to be, because it's distracting to me. They're entertaining. They're both fantastic at it. I'm not knocking them necessarily. I'm just saying it's distracting to the game. Like
you're definitely not going to be paying attention, not seeing every play with the game.
Yeah, like I can't focus on the game. There's no sound of the game. It's just them, like it's like they described it. You know, two brothers hanging out at a bar. You know, watching the game. You can't hear it. You know, when you're at the bar, you can't hear the game either. You're just up there. You're just looking up at the screen typically, and that's what it is. For what it is, it's fantastic. But I have to eventually flip back to the regular version just because I want to hear what's going on. I want to hear the actual sounds of the game and things like that.
Did you see the guests that they had on
I
Monday
s-
night?
no, I saw
Like
Ray Lewis.
LeBron. It was like LeBron and Nick Saban
Okay,
that they
I
were
did hear
talking
that.
to. Yeah, who? I mean, shit. I don't know if they announced that before, if it's just like a surprise drop in or what. But yeah, I mean, I'd definitely tune in if I knew what time that they were going to be. See what old Saban has to say on on the matter. I'm pretty sure he was just trying to recruit Arch Manning. So,
Probably so. Yeah. Which that can get that kick and flick it from from the clips
dude,
I've seen. But
for sure.
that it's a fun segment. I can only handle like so much of it because I want to hear what's going on in the game, no matter how entertaining those two are and who all
Yeah.
is coming on. Yeah, I'm intrigued, but I can't sit there and watch the whole game that way personally.
So, what do you think? What do you think about Romo then? Do you think he's too much or he's just enough on the analytics and then the commentating?
Romo's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I think Romo's A
Do you,
plus at it.
so do you think they'll get Manning, Peyton in a role like that? Or you think if this kind of
If
does
Peyton
good, they'll keep him doing this?
if Peyton wants to do it, he'll do it. It's he
Yeah,
chooses
he
what
don't
he
need to
wants
do
to do.
anything. Yeah.
I think Eli would
Which
be.
have
I
I haven't
almost.
seen any of his commercials in a while. The
I
chicken
mean,
farm, you taste so good. I haven't seen that shit in forever.
the what tastes so good?
The chicken farm.
Oh,
What?
that's right.
Oh,
Yeah, that's been a
yeah.
while. Yeah, I'd
Bring it
forgotten
back.
about that.
Bring it back.
Yeah. Well, he's not playing. He's not playing
Hell, I ain't even
anymore.
had chicken parmesan in forever. I need to bring that back.
I haven't either. Try to stay away from breaded stuff and pasta. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
so I've tried to. I didn't say I was that successful at it, but it has been a while since I've had chicken farm. But I think Romo's fantastic at it.
Yeah.
Like I mean, and Romo really. I mean, he tells you what's going on. Like he says, "All right, they're gonna. Oh, he's about to audible to this," and then they do that, and it's just. Plus, dude's a cool dude. Like you could hang, like I could hang out with Tony Romo. Like he's just a cool, chill dude. You know, smooth talker. He's perfect for that role. I can see why he went ahead and retired. Like I'm tired of getting hurt, and he's good at it. And he's going to make a lot of money doing it. So
Yeah.
and he'll do it for his no. Anytime I see Romo's calling a game, I'm excited about that. Just I mean he's good at it. I mean he's really good at it. Could Peyton and Eli see? I think Eli would almost. I think he would almost be just as good as Peyton, just from a different. I don't know. They kind of have the same personality, but they don't. Eli's more dry,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like I feel like Eli would make me laugh more than Peyton would, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I can see it.
I mean, did you hear his joke to Ray Lewis on that first Monday Night Football game?
No. No.
Yeah, it was a Ravens game. Peyton was see that was the thing. I tuned into right when they started, and I almost think like they were trying a little too hard to be entertaining, or Peyton was at least. And he had like a Ravens helmet on, and he was acting like he was calling a play, and the helmet
Yeah.
didn't fit, very well because Peyton's got a
I
big
talking about
he's got a big old noggin. And then Ray Lewis
old
comes
five
on.
head.
Yeah. And Eli's mic isn't working. So they like hand him a mic like with me. and he's Ray Lewis is on. He goes, "Hey Ray, what would you rather have? Uh, $10,000 cash or Peyton's helmet full of quarters?" it's just it's just
Dang.
little shit like that that I
Oh,
don't
you know
know.
he's
It
got
got me
some good
tickled.
ones, man. Being the little brother.
Yeah,
Mm.
and then he just I don't know. Just Eli would almost trip me out even more. I would think I like Peyton, but I don't know. Eli's sneaky, kind of sneaky funny.
So do you think that they ever played Madden against each other?
I don't know. Are they gamers? I don't know that I
I don't
see
know,
them
but
as.
Madden's been around for I mean forever, dude. Like at some point, surely
Well,
they
they
picked
said
up a
themselves
controller.
they hadn't watched a football game together since 1993. I believe it was.
I mean, there's online gaming. I mean, it's not a it's still kind of a possibility that it could happen or it's happened.
I mean, yeah, it's. I'm not
And
saying
they're
it's not.
retired.
It's possible, but yeah, I mean, maybe it happens. I don't know. Neither of them really strike me as gamers.
Yeah, I figure if they did though, it would just be like the final score would be like 65, 64 because none of them know. You how good do you think they'd be on defense versus just sitting there audibling out and reading the
Well, they play a
you know.
lot of defenses, so
Well,
or have
yeah,
played a lot of great
but
defenses, so they know what works against the other.
they do.
Maybe
But
it's the
they also, I
opposite.
mean, if they know the controllers,
Maybe it's
you
a
think they're pitching like a 0-2
no like
win?
a 10-7 game, something like that. No, I doubt that. They
I'd
even
be interested. I'd be interested to see it just to see what would happen.
I mean, there's serious trash talking involved, absolutely.
Definitely.
But it's I
Now,
don't know.
surely the other brother,
Cooper.
what's the oldest Cooper?
Cooper,
Yeah,
yeah.
I could see him being good at Madden.
I could see that. I don't know. Did you see how you see have you seen their like grilling commercial? Take that as an
Yeah, when they're like, "Hey, Dad, how many burgers do you want?" He holds up the foam finger.
yeah.
Talk about that one.
Yes. You sounded just like Eli, by the way. But I couldn't get over how small like Cooper's like arms were.
Yeah, he's like a beanpole. Like,
Yeah, he's really tiny, like thin. I mean, I know he was
I
a
think he's always
receiver.
been like that though.
I think he was more muscly when he was a player. Of course, he
Yeah,
had that.
whenever he's a player, but he's still leaner build for
Yes.
receiver, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess. I mean, I know he had that medical issue,
Yeah.
that ended his football career. I don't know how much that has carried over into his personal life, but yeah, I just was like, wow, he's a tiny dude. So, um, shoe booty shout outs, something we're going to do, just a little shout out. Brad, who's your shoe booty shout out of the week?
Shoe booty shout out of the week. Damn, I thought I already did
You
that
didn't
with.
think
I
about
thought
this
I already
one.
did that with Eli Manning, and he was going to be my shout out of the week. I
So
mean,
your shoe booty
which I didn't.
shout out is Eli.
Yep.
You could just said Eli. That was it.
I mean, yeah, it's Eli Manning with him and his double birds.
Yeah, that was pretty good. My shoe booty shout out is to the fella. I still have got to figure out I can't remember his name. He was I did a marathon in Jonesboro over the weekend, and I left my hat in my hotel room. Being a ball guy, being out on the road for around 5 hours in the sun is bad. I would have roasted my head. I saw him prior to the race. It's like, yeah, man, I was just, shooting the shit with him and was like, hey, yeah, man, I forgot my hat in my room. Just kind of, you know, gonna get a torched head, I guess. And he's like, oh, well, here's some sunscreen. He had some sunscreen in his trunk, doused my head, and now it's not burned or anything like that. So
Did he apply it to your head?
I applied it to my. It was the
Oh,
spray.
okay.
He handed me the can. He had it. He had something to keep my head from getting torched. So when I'm shouting out a man that I can't remember his name, but he's an awesome fella. He kicked ass in the half marathon, and I'll give you a double shout out next week. I want to say it was Greg. I want to say it was his name. It's been a week, man.
Good job, Greg.
I'm terrible at names. If it's not Greg, I'll correct it next week. But anyway, so different different thing. Kind of going back to football. Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow are playing each other tonight. Like as we speak, or it may have finished. I don't want to know the end of the game or the end, but do you have the score or anything handy?
No,
Okay.
sure don't. I mean,
Either way, I look forward to watching that, and depending on what happens, we'll talk about that in next week episode if it's some stuff worth mentioning. But it's I don't know. The Bengals are better than the Jaguars, but last I checked, the Jaguars were winning based on what you told me.
yeah, it was 14-0 at half.
Yeah, but two number one picks, national champions, played each other in the national championship. So that'd be worth watching. In other news, Manny Pacquiao officially retired this week. Your thoughts on his career? Only 8 division world champion in history.
Yeah, it's pretty good in my book.
Pretty good.
Pretty good in my book. Man, it's been a lot of fun watching him, man. I still think he got robbed on the Bradley fight. What was it, 7 years ago or something like that?
You
That
fought
was
him
back
7 years
whenever.
ago?
No, the Bradley fight, whenever he got robbed on the decision.
I know what you meant. I didn't think you really fought Manny Pacquiao.
Oh no, I did fight an imaginary Jermaine Taylor one time.
That's
Uh,
right. That's right. 21st birthday. I
yeah,
remember that.
yeah,
And
21st.
you lost. Like
I
took
did
a
lose.
you took a
It
hard L on
what wasn't even close. It was
no. Yeah. I never seen anybody shoulder tackle a tire before, but it was fantastic.
allegedly.
It wasn't
Allegedly.
allegedly. It happened. I saw it with my own
It's still allegedly in my book.
I saw it with my own
Because
four
I don't remember
eyeballs.
any of that.
I do, and so do a lot of other people.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
fantastic. It was very entertaining though. Like it was great.
That's what I hear.
It was
That's what I hear.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, of course he got robbed in that fight against Bradley. Me and Zach were watching that. Shout out Zach Koff, watching that at Fox and the Hound. I remember that.
Yeah.
And like it was an easy win for Pacquiao, and the whole place was just like in shock when they announced that Bradley had won it. But
Mm.
he got robbed, and that wasn't the only robbery. He got robbed in the Joe Horn fight that was, on cable.
Yeah. I didn't watch that one, so I can't say anything about it. But,
I watched it. I watched it. I believe it was live that I watched it, and yeah, it was the same thing. It was now it was more competitive, I think, than the first Bradley fight, but Pacquiao clearly won the fight, and then
mm.
they gave it to Horn via unanimous decision, and everybody's just like, "What? A unanimous decision?" And those are the only three people that were watching that thought that guy had won the fight, and
Mm.
being Horn, not Pacquiao. But he got robbed in that. He obviously his arch rival is Marquez. He, I thought, you know, Marquez thought he won every fight, but so did Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins never thought he lost a fight in his life. But I thought Pacquiao won at least 2 of those fights. Clearly didn't win the last one, getting
No.
put to sleep like that.
Oh my God, dude. I remember. Holy crap, dude.
Yeah, we watched that at your apartment
Lights,
in Conway. That's right.
lights out, dude.
Good night. Yeah, good night.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good night. But
man.
and then there was the dud with Mayweather. That was the most disappointing mega fight I had
Yeah.
ever seen.
Let's tiptoe in circles and yeah, do nothing for 30 minutes. Let's do that.
Essentially, I mean, Pacquiao was hurt going into it, and he wasn't going to forfeit that kind of payday. So I don't necessarily blame him, at least from that standpoint. But gosh, what a disappointing fight. That was so.
For my money, it was very disappointing
I wouldn't have.
because
You would have to pay me to watch that again. Like that's
again,
how
yeah.
you would have to pay me the $100 or whatever it cost to watch that again. Like it was that bad
Yeah, yeah, that one was the first like, holy crap, there. It's how much for a pay-per-view? Like I
yeah,
remember that first super fight.
because they knew we were going to pay it and we
Oh
did.
yeah.
But and so did 4.8 million others or something like that. So it was in the 4 million range. It broke the previous record by Mayweather and De La Hoya by almost double buys. So there you go. But Pacquiao ended his career on a pretty solid note. Became the oldest welterweight champion in history at age 40. I think when he beat Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, and who was young and up and coming fighter, just outclassed him. But ended his career pretty solid, man. Lots of some big wins. Took a split, had a big fight with scheduled with Errol Spence Jr., just a young lion, man, at welterweight. Spence got, I think he had a eye, like damaged his eye socket or something, or his retina, some type of eye injury that forced him out. So Pacquiao took a fight with another guy on short notice, loses the fight via decision, and yeah, and called it a career, running for president of the Philippines. So amazing career and doing more outside of it as well. But anyway, as far as what we have this week,
Speaking
that
of boxing,
pretty
isn't Fury Wilder this weekend?
is that this weekend?
Uh,
I think it might be. They were showing their second fight. Uh yeah, they were showing it. They've been showing it this week. So I think it is coming up. We got a lot of big stuff next week though, man. Obviously
oh
the
no, no, it's on the 9th. I was
okay.
getting a little bit too excited. I wish it was this weekend.
Man, there's a lot going on this weekend. So it's on the 9th. I'll be in Chicago that weekend.
Chicago.
So I won't see it. I'll be living it up in Chi-Town. It's going to be a good time. But
Yeah, that I think that week I get to travel to Colorado and Oregon.
word, well,
Yeah,
there'll be
that'll
about
be fun.
35,000 of us having a party Sunday morning. So right there in Grant Park. But we got a lot going on this weekend, man. Obviously the big
35,000.
one, Brady returned to Foxborough. That's yeah.
Yeah, and
That
he's gonna annihilate him. I think, dude. And it can't set up any better for the guy, man. He's gonna get to break the all-time yardage that of Breeze, right? I mean, he's only
yes.
like what 50 yards away. Like hell, he'll do that in the first quarter.
It's like 100 or something. It's
Oh,
something
is
that
it? But
he'll.
still,
I mean, he's gonna
it's
do it.
gonna
Yeah,
happen.
he threw
Yeah,
400, I think, last week. So
yeah. And he's gonna do it in front of his old team and probably dismantle them.
old team, old fans. What kind of ovation is he gonna get? I'm sure it's gonna be nothing but
Oh,
grateful.
can you? Yeah, yeah. You can't boo a guy who brought you 6 rings, right? I mean,
Well,
That has to be a rule,
six
right?
championships. I don't think he brought the fans rings, but
You know what I mean, damn it.
yeah,
Yeah. There's if they boo him, yeah, it's not Philly.
yeah,
I don't see it
it's not
happening.
Philly. I
I'm
mean,
sure there's gonna. I mean, yeah, there's gonna be a couple of people. There's always that guy, and there's gonna be a couple of them. They'll probably give him a boo,
the
and
vast
then
majority, it's going to be a standing ovation, as it should be.
standing O. Or are they already going to be standing? Are
Well,
they
it'll
going to get
be
up from their seats, or
it's standing no matter what. It's
yeah?
not, hey, let's rise and give him an ovation.
Well,
It's
yeah,
going to be
but
a standing
that's
ovation.
a standing ovation,
They're not
right?
sitting
Because
and giving an
you were seated
they're
at
not
first,
sitting and getting
and
giving an
they impressed
ovation.
you so much that you got up from your seat,
It's
and
not
it's
a
a
sitting.
standing ovation.
Well, they're not giving a sitting ovation. They're going to be giving a standing ovation. I don't think
They're going to be ovation while they're already standing.
a standing ovation doesn't consist of
How about it? There's going to
having
be
two
cheering.
stand.
It's going to be cheers.
There's going to be cheers
cheers.
no matter what.
Yeah, there's cheerleading.
That's like
so
saying the
that's definitely
sun will
happen.
come up tomorrow. Of course, it's going to be cheers. It's like saying water will be wet.
Unless it's frozen. I mean,
Still wet. Trying to think of another analogy, but anyway, standing ovation
as you're drinking water.
as I'm drinking water. But I don't know. I don't know that Brady's gonna. He might light it up, but I mean, I think Belichick will. I think he's got some stuff plan of how they're going to attack him. But see, I think Brady. I mean, it's Brady, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I see the. Excuse me. I see the Bucks winning. By how much, I really don't know. I don't know if they're just going to blow them out.
I can see them doing it by at least. I'm saying minimum 10 points.
Well, I could see that happening. But we'll cover that for sure in next week's episode. We'll probably lead with that. I mean, how could we not? Unless, there's always something happening in sports. So we'll see what happens. But that'll definitely be on the list. We'll recap that. We'll also recap Alabama, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Georgia, what we covered today, and the other big games, and kind of see how the MLB playoff race is shaping up. And the rest of the big games that take place. So, Riley Brown, anything to add as we sign out?
I don't know if our viewers have noticed, but we finally have video.
We do.
Big improvement. So
we do. They may
with
not
the
notice.
whole thing with that. Yeah,
they
might not notice yet, but I'm sure they will here soon. Only a matter of time.
Post Blade. But yes, we have that. We have a sponsor, Rhino Races. Visit rhinoraces.com for all your racing needs. That's running. Sign up, run anytime, anywhere, track with your fitness device, and submit your results. Get your award by mail. Visit rhinoraces.com for details. And in the meantime, everybody have an awesome week. Enjoy the sports. I'm going to go down and catch some of the Bengals and Jaguars game that I got recording. And until next time, have a good one. We'll come up with a catchphrase by next week. And then we'll get back to you all. All right, signing out. Peace.
Shoe booty.
She thick.